Hi, Democrats. Today is Monday, November 22nd, and it's time for the Chair Daily Live. Happy Monday. I know that November 22nd has a lot of historical significance, but I made a decision about 15 years ago that I was not going to acknowledge it because I like for those people to have some peace in their lives. I'll just say that. Alrighty. So a lot of stuff has been going on, and I've been trying to figure out how to frame this so that you guys know. But in the last 10 days, I've received a handful, 4 or 5 interview requests from national publications wanting to know what is going on in Oklahoma politics. And so it's, anytime that I get to say the Oklahoma Democratic Party, I'm grateful that I get to say that because, got to make sure that people know that we're here. But some of the questions that people are asking me, are discouraging. Some of the reasons that people are calling are discouraging. Today's interview was, do women have a chance in Oklahoma politics? An interview from last week was, why is everything so extreme in Oklahoma? Another one was, oh my gosh, we've seen some gerrymandered maps. What's happening in Oklahoma? So everyone recognizes that our politics have become incredibly extreme and incredibly right-leaning. And to the naked eye, to folks who don't live here, who aren't involved in our politics, they absolutely understand that our Republican-led legislature is not really thinking about what's good for Oklahoma, but they're seriously worried about keeping their seats, and they're worried about inner party kind of petty politics. And that doesn't help Oklahoma. So I just said petty, and I hate saying, negative things without giving people context. So hey, Wayne, I just went through and looked at Senate bills. And I just looked at the first 8 Senate bills for the upcoming legislative session. Now, it doesn't start till February 1st. But legislators are already putting in their bills because they want the low numbers and they want to be considered first. And so right out the gate, the first one is basically saying Senate Bill 1100 is saying that non-binary people can't have birth certificates that represent who they are. So it's disavowing non-binary persons. I know non-binary persons. I know they exist. And I know that I appreciate having a birth certificate that identifies who I am. It makes my life a whole lot easier identifying who I am. Why wouldn't I want that for my neighbor? What possible reason? What is harmed? Who is harmed by a person who identifies as non-binary having this document that allows them to identify appropriately on their driver's license, their insurance, their passports? Who is harmed by making their lives easier? Apparently they think someone, because there's a bill trying to make sure that happens. The next one is let's not count marijuana as an agricultural interest. Well, here's the thing. I'm not going to get on what you think about marijuana, but the reality is our state passed it, and medical marijuana is legal. And so this making it harder for folks to do business, again, what is to be gained? I ask that for every bill. Who is harmed and what is to be gained? And if it's just performative legislation, I want y'all to hear about it. It's performative. It's I was tough on weed. Why? Oklahoma voted overwhelmingly for it. Okay, the next one. Brace yourself. Because if this one passes, Oklahoma will have Communism Awareness Day. So we have a legislator who wants for there to be a Communism Awareness Day, and for K through 12 schools to teach about the effects of communism. And it's very, very specific. Communism. Why not democracy, Marxism, socialism, all forms of government? Why are we focused on communism? annoying. There's a Blue Star Mother tax. Not real sure because it did not have a summary. But again, this is a case of someone just trying to log their legislation, but didn't have the time to put any wording in. Daylight savings time, naming a highway after the Gold Star folks, penalizing companies. If you work for my company and I employ more than 100 people, I can require a vaccine mandate, which, just for the record, has been happening pre-COVID. I used to work at a doctor's office, and we all had to have our vaccines up to date, just normal course, and nobody bought because we knew what we were doing good um, for ourselves, but good also for our clients, our patients. And then all of this jibber jabber, and I got all the way to Senate Bill 1107, which feels like a non-political bill, which is what I was looking for, bills that help Oklahomans rather than scoring political points. And this one is, if an offender gets out and their driver's license expired while they were incarcerated, but you have to have a driver's license to kind of get your life settled. You have to have some kind of ID to get a place to live, to get a job. It is really a hard system to navigate now. And we have some senators who've submitted a bill that says, let them have a provisional driver's license if they had a valid driver's license when they went in. Let them have a provisional driver's license so that in order to facilitate them coming back into society in a productive way. But most of the other ones were hot performance. I don't have it. It was scoring political points that, aren't designed to help Oklahoma be better. And this is why you've heard it. You've heard a whole bunch of people say it. So I'm going to say it again. Elections have consequences. It is incredibly important that we pick who represents us. Don't just go in, hi, Calvin, hi, Donna. Don't just go and vote who's already there in, or vote who's already there out just because that's your practice, is that, you're going to vote against everybody who's there and vote in new people. Pay attention to what they stand for. Pay attention and hold. If you are a Democrat and you have Democrat representation right now and you don't feel like they're accountable to you, it's your job to hold them accountable. It's your job to make sure you're calling their office and holding their feet to the fire to vote for things that you believe in. That's a real thing. That's our job as citizens. And I'm begging you to get involved, because without it, we end up with super gerrymandered districts. We end up with performative bills, and we end up with things that aren't a legislative session that barely has any bills that help improve Oklahoma. We end up with bills that have people from out of the country and all over the state.
It looks like our chair is frozen right now. So I'm going to take just a moment while she hopefully reconnects here. But what she was saying, and I think that this is so important for us to understand as Democrats, that the rest of the world is watching. When we have nothing but performative legislation, I mean, it continues to make Oklahoma a place where good paying jobs will not want to come. It makes Oklahoma a place where people don't want their kids to be put into public schools because of the nonsense political activity of our so-called elected leaders. These are the kinds of things that we as Democrats must stand up against. And that's why, like Alicia said, elections have consequences. We are looking at 8 statewide offices that are open for the taking next year. In addition to that, there are scores of school board elections, city councils, town councils, mayors races that are happening. And so this goes back to what Alicia says, honestly, just about every single day on her live broadcast. We have to be vigilant in finding qualified candidates to run as Democrats. She's back now, so I'll give you back to her.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, go ahead and finish because I don't know where you left off. So it's really important that in the next 2 weeks, there's going to be candidate filing for school board. So if you know someone who needs to run for school board, if you think you need to step up to run for school board, now is the time to start getting your paperwork. Start talking to whoever you need to talk about to help you get ready to run for office. It's important, and we have to pay attention all the time, not just in November, in even years. We have to pay attention all the time. Alrighty, I won't be here for the rest of the week because it is a holiday week and nobody's paying attention anyway. I appreciate you who joined me today. Be sure and join Scott Hamilton this evening, where he'll be joined by Oklahoma City's Reverend Jesse Jackson Jr., talking about living while Black. Should be an interesting show. And then I will be back here to next Monday at 4:15. You guys have a great spend great time with your family. Don't want to call it the holiday. Spend wonderful time with your family. Thanks for joining.